Filipino artists and their contribution to contemporary arts. Here are the objectives for our lessons today.
Hi, I just want to show you the meaning of Gamaba. What is Gamaba? Gamaba stands for Gawad na Manlilikha ng Bayan. The very purpose of this award is to give honor and pride to those traditional folk artists and to preserve their works, skills, and crafts. The Gawad na Manlilikha ng Bayan or National Living Treasures Award established on April 1992 through Republic Act No. 7355 under the administration and implementation of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, in short NCAA, through the Gawad is Manlilikha ng Bayan Committee and an ad hoc panel of experts.
Who are the Gamaba Awardees? What are their qualifications? The Gamaba Awardees are the people who have adopted a program that will ensure the transfer of their skills to others. They undertake measures to promote a genuine appreciation of traditional craft and art and instill pride among our people about the skill of the Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan, or also known as the Gamaba. Filipinos conferred as the forefront of the practice, preservation, and promotion of the nation's traditional folk arts. Gamaba Awardees is same as joining a contest. There are mechanics and guidelines to follow. First, must have passed on and or will pass on to other members of the community their skills in the folk art for which the community is traditionally known. Second, must be an inhabitant of an indigenous or traditional cultural community here in the Philippines.
Number 3, must have engaged a folk art tradition that has been in existence and documented for at least 50 years. And number 4, it must have consistently performed or produced over a significant period works of superior and distinctive quality. Introducing the Gamaba Awardees.
Uwang Ahadas, Ayakan of Lamitan. Basilan was awarded for his dexterity in playing yakan musical instrument such as kwintangan, gabang, agong, kwintangan kayo, kuntungan, among others. He has a deep knowledge of the aesthetic possibilities and social context of those instruments.
Magdalena Gamayaw, based in Pinili, Ilocos Norte, Magdalena Gamayaw took up weaving when she was 16. Guided by her aunt's pattern, she received her first loom from her father 3 years later, when she ended up using for 30 years. She taught herself traditional patterns such as kuzikus, whirlwind, marurok, Milky Way, and sinan padak tipusa God's spoke print, building on the more common inuritan, geometric design, and sinan sabong, flowers. Gamayaw's skills and instincts are none more apparent than they are in her ability to replicate designs she's only seen once. To master among Filipino traditional. Eduardo Mutuk, ikapampangan from Central Luzon, is recognized for reviving the Spanish colonial era craft of lateria. This self-taught master craftsman found his calling in producing religious and secular art in silver, bronze, and wood. In doing so, in its pursuit of perfection of himself and his apprentices, he assures the continuity of his rich tradition. Lang Dulay, a Tiboli of Lake Cebu, South Cotabato, was awarded for weaving the Abakaikat cloth. She has produced creations which means faithful to the Tiboli traditions as manifested in the complexity of their design, fineness of workmanship, and quality of finish. She knew around 100, including Buling Langit, Kabangi, crocodiles and flowers. She valued purity so much so that she never washed her tinalak with soap. She was awarded in 1998 and died in 2015. Sulaiman, a Maguindanao at Mama Sapano, Maguindanao. He was awarded for his outstanding artistry and dedication to his chosen instrument, na Maguindanao Kutyapi. Kutyapi is a two-string plucked lute, regarded as one of the most technically demanding and difficult to master among Filipino traditional.
Haja Amina Api, Pandan Mat Weaver. Lives in Ongos Matata, Tandubas Tawi-Tawi. She is recognized as the master mat weaver among the Sama indigenous community of Ongos Matata. Her colorful mats with their complex geometric pattern exhibit her precise sense of design, proportion and symmetry, and sensitivity to color. Federico Caballero, chanter and educator. A Fanay Bukidnon of Kalinog, Iloilo was awarded for his mastery of chanting the Sugidanon, the epic tradition of Central Panay. He ceaselessly worked for the documentation of the epics of his people, painstakingly piecing together the elements of this oral tradition nearly lost. In his spare time, he also worked with the Department of Education's Bureau of Non-Formal Education, teaching elders to read and write. He was awarded in 2000. Ginaw Bilog, poet, a Hanan o Mangyan of Mansalay, Oriental, Mindoro, awarded for faithfully preserving the Hanan o Mangyan script and Ambahang poetry. He has promoted the local script and poetry so that the art will not be lost but preserved. The Mangyan script is one of the 4 remaining syllabic scripts in the country, and Ginaw Bilog's work has been crucial to its preservation. Based in Mansalay, Oriental, Mindoro, the poet was known for writing Ambahan, a metaphoric poem comprising 7 syllable lines, first in a notebook, then on traditional lineage bamboo tubes. The poems, often recited with music at social gatherings and used to convey messages among the Hanan o Mangyan, had topics like advising the young, bidding a friend goodbye, and asking for a place to stay. Bilog, who was awarded in 1993, died in 2003. Salinta Monon, textile weaver, a Gamaba Award of the Gabawa Bagobo of Bansalan, Davao del Sur. She was awarded for fully demonstrating the creative and expressive aspect of the Bagoba Baka, ikat weaving called innoble at a time when such art is treated with extinction. In her home in Bansalan, Davao del Sur, Monon would isolate herself from family to be able to concentrate on creating her clothes and skirt, which took 3 to 4 months to finish respectively.
Darhata Sawabi is a Filipino weaver from Parang, Sulu Province, known as Porpis Yabit, a traditional thousand flow tapestry worn as a head covering by the people of Sulu. She is a recipient of the National Living Treasure Award, having given the distinction in 2004. This refers to the geometric pattern that is said to be derived from the Indic mandala, and Siyabit stands for the hook and technique. She died on March 12, 2005. Fino Garcia, one of the country's national living treasure. He born on March 27, 1941 in Abra. He started the art of patukong or tabungaw hat making from his grandfather Hipolito at the age of 15. In case you're wondering what tabungaw is, it's an Ilocano term for upo, also known as battle gourd or white pumpkin. Tufilo Garcia, on the other hand, is known to be the last of the tabungaw hat makers, a traditional headgear made of tabungaw or gourd. He dedicated most of his life working as a farmer to send his 5 children to school. He also devoted his time planting upo, the main materials in producing the traditional tabungaw. He said that it takes 7 days to finish one tabungaw hat. Currently, Tufilo is invited to give talks and demonstrations locally and abroad. He even opened up his home so people can see some of his unique creation. And also, he genuinely teaches local school children the art of tabungaw making, up until now. Alonso Saclag was born on August 4, 1942, a member of the Kalinga people and a native of Libuagan, Kalinga province. Saclag taught himself of his people's tradition in the performing arts. He learned how to play traditional Kalinga musical instrument and Kalinga ritual dance movement without formal and informal instruction. Saclag worked to revive the dying tradition of playing the gangsa, a type of Kalinga gong. Saclag lobbied for 2 years with the provincial government to to grant funds to convert the abandoned Capitol building into a museum. He also formed a Kalinga Budong dance troupe with the intent of promoting Kalinga dance to a wider audience. Sa club was conferred a National Living Treasure Award in year 2000. Intaray was born on April 10, 1943 in Macagua Valley and lived in Bucans Point in Palawan. He is known for playing multiple indigenous instruments, namely the basal or gong, aruding or mouth harp, and the babarak or ring flute. Intaray is also known for his performance of kulilal or songs and bagit, a form of vocal music. The Palawan native was married and had 4 children. Intaray died on November 30, 2013, due to complication from diabetes, which included multiple bouts of stroke at the age of 7.
Factors supporting the traditional artist reduction process.
First, living artists who have been Filipino citizens for the last 10 years prior to nomination, as well as those who have died after the establishment of the award in 1972, but were Filipino citizens at the time of their death. Second, artists who have helped build the Filipino sense of nationhood through the content and form of their works. Third, artists who have distinguished themselves by pioneering in a mode of creative expression or style, making an impact on succeeding generations of artists. Fourth, artists who have created a significant body of works and or have consistently displayed excellence in the practice of their art form, enriching artistic expression or style. And last, artists who enjoy broad acceptance through prestigious national and or international recognition, awards in prestigious national and or international events, critical acclaim and or reviews of their works, and a respect and esteem from peers within an artistic discipline.
Lesson 5. National Artists of the Philippines and their contribution. What is the National Artist Award? Among the different honors and acknowledgement instruments, the National Artist Award, or NAA, presents the most elevated type of acknowledgement to Filipino craftsmen for their noteworthy commitments in expressions of the human experience and letters. It is the highest national acknowledgement given to Filipino people who have made noteworthy commitments to the improvement of Philippine expressions, in particular, music, dance, theater, visual arts, literature, film, broadcast arts, and architecture, and allied arts. So who are the awardees? The National Artists of the Philippines are based on a broad criteria as set for the Cultural Center of the Philippines and the National Commission on Culture and the Arts. So number 1 is living artists who have been Filipino citizens for the last 10 years prior to nomination, as well as those who have died after the establishment of the award in 1972, but were Filipino citizens at the time of their death. Number 2, artists who have helped build a Filipino sense of nationhood through the content and form of their works. 3, artists who have distinguished themselves by pioneering in a mode of creative expression or style, making an impact on succeeding generation of artists. And last, artists to enjoy broad acceptance through prestigious national and or international recognition, awards in prestigious national and or international events, critical acclaim and or reviews of their works, and or respect and esteem from peers within an artistic discipline.
What is architecture? Architecture is defined as the art and science of designing buildings and structures. A wider definition would include, within this scope, is the design of any built environment, structure, or object, from town planning, urban design, and landscape architecture to furniture and objects. Pablo S. Antonio is a national artist for architecture since 1976. He pioneered the establishing of the Far Eastern University Administration and Science Buildings, Manila Polo Club, Ideal Theater, Lyric Theater, Galaxy Theater, Captain Luis Gonzaga Building, Boulevard Alhambra is now Bel Air Apartments, Ramon Roses Publications Building, now Guzman Institute of Electronics. Leandro V. Locsin is another national artist for architecture since 1990. Locsin's largest single work is the Istana Nurul Iman, the palace of the Sultan of Brunei, which has a floor area of 2.2 million square feet. The CCP complex itself is a virtual Locsin complex with all 5 buildings designed by him: the Cultural Center of the Philippines, the Folk Arts Theater, the Philippine International Convention Center, Philsite, and the Westin Hotel, which is now the Sofitel Philippine Plaza. Another one of our national artists for architecture is Juan F. Nakpil since 1973. He pioneered the establishing of the Jeronimo de los Reyes Building, the Magsaysay Building, the Rizal Theater, the Capitol Theater, Captain Pepe Building, Manila Jockey Club, Rufino Building, Philippine Village Hotel, University of the Philippines Administration and University Library, and the reconstructed Rizal House in Calamba, Laguna. Ildefonso P Santos Jr. is another one of our national artists for architecture since 2006. His contribution to modern Filipino landscape architecture was the seminal public landscape in Paco Park. His most recent projects were the Tagaytay Highland Resort, the Mount Malarayat Golf and Country Club in Lipa, Batangas, and the Orchard Golf and Country Club in Imus, Cavite. Another one of our national artists for architecture and allied arts since 2018 is Francisco Timanosa. His major works were the San Miguel Building in Ortigas, the Center in Pasig City designed with the Manosa brothers, the Chapel of the Risen Lord in Las Piñas City, Our Lady of Peace Shrine in EDSA, Quezon City, the World Youth Day Papal Altar, the Quirino Grandstand in Manila, 1995 Metro Rail Transit System stations for LRT1, Circa.
These are the national artists in cinema. First is Lamberto B Abellana. He is a national artist of theater and film in 1976. He was born on February 12, 1915 and he died on April 15, 1991. Lamberto B Abellana is a director for theater and film. He has the distinction of being called the boy wonder of Philippine movies as early as 1939. He was the first to use the motion camera to establish a point of view, a move that revolutionized the techniques of film narration. Sakay was declared for the best picture of 1939 by critics and journalists alike, and set the stone for Avellana's career in film that would be capped by such distinctive achievements as the Grand Prix at the Asian Film Festival in Hong Kong for Anak Dalita 1956. Best Director of Asia Award in Tokyo for Wajau, Avellana was also the first filmmaker to have his Candelerong Pilak shown at the Cannes International Film Festival. Among the films he directed for worldwide release were Sergeant Hassan 1967, Destination Vietnam 1969, and The Evil Within 1970. Next is Lino Broca, a national artist for film and broadcast arts in 1997. He was born on April 3, 1939 and he died May 22, 1991. Bertolino Ortiz Broca espoused the term freedom of expression in the Philippine Constitution. Broca took his social activist spirit to the screen, leaving behind 66 films which breathed life and hope for the marginalized sectors of society: slum dwellers, prostitutes, construction workers, and many others. He also directed for theater with equal zeal and served in organizations that offer alternative visions, like the Philippine Educational Theater Association and the Concerned Artists of the Philippines. At the same time, he gathered awards and recognition from institutions like the CCP, FAMAS, POYM, and Cannes Film Festival. Next is Ishmael Bernal. He is a national artist for cinema in 2001. He was born on September 30, 1938, and he died June 2, 1996. Ishmael Bernal was a filmmaker of the first order and one of the very few who can be truly called a maestro. Critics have called him as the genius of Philippine cinema. Among his notable films are Pahiram ng Isang Umaga, 1989, Broken Marriage, 1983, Himala, 1982, City After Dark, 1980, and Dunal sa Tubig, 1976. He was recognized as the Director of Decade of the 1970s by the Catholic Mass Media Awards. Four-time Best Director by the Orion Awards, 1989, 1985, 1983, and 1977, and given the Asian Cultural Award in Communication Arts in 1993. Next is Ronald Alan K. Poe, popularly known as Fernando Poe Jr. He was born on August 20, 1939, and he died in December 14, 2004. He was a national artist for cinema in 2006. He was a cultural icon of tremendous audience impact and cinema artist craftsman as director, actor, writer, and producer. Some of his notable films are Apollo Robles, 1961, Batang Maynila, 1962, Mga Alabok sa Lupa, 1967, Partida, 1985, and also the Panday series, 1980, 1981, 1982, and 1984. And last is Kidlat Tahimik, a national artist for film 2018. He was born on October 3, 1942. Kidlat Tahimik has continually invented himself through his cinema, and so his cinema is as singular as the man. His debut film, Mababangong Bangungot, 1977, was praised by critics and filmmakers from Europe, North America, Asia, and Africa, and this is still considered by many as a pioneering post-colonial essay film. Tahimik's intense independence as an artist and at the same time the film itself called for Filipinos to actively live out their independence and not allow their culture to be imperialized by the West. Kidlat's imperfect film is an exemplar of what is worldwide known as third cinema, a cinema that is critical of neo-colonial exploitation and state oppression. Some of his notable works are Balikbayan No. 1, Memories of Overdevelopment Redux 2015, Japanese Summers of a Filipino, Fondoshi 1996, Why is Yellow the Middle of the Rainbow, 1988 to 1984, Orbit 50, Letters to My Tree Son, 1990 to 1982, and Turumba, 1983. And also, Who Invented the Yo-Yo? Who Invented the Moon Buggy? In 1979. And last is Mababangong Bangungot, Perfumed Nightmare, 1977.
Visual art are those creations that stimulate us through a visual experience.
is of art forms such as painting, drawing, printing, sculpture, ceramics, photography, video, filmmaking, design, crafts, and architecture. There are 5 national awardees in visual arts. Fernando Versolo, the first national artist for visual arts awardee. He was titled Grand Oman of Philippine Art. He was born in May 30, 1892, and he was died in April 24, 1972. His major artworks include the following: Our Maiden History in 1921, El Ciego in 1928, Dalagang Bukid in 1936, La Mestiza in 1943, and Planting Rice in 1946. Fernando R. Ocampo, National Artist for Visual Arts on 1991. He best known for his abstract painting. He was born on April 28, 1911, and he was died on December 28, 1978. His major artworks include Are the Ina ng Balon, Calvary, Slum Dwellers, Nude with Gentle and Flowers, Man and Carabao, and Angel Peace. Abdul Marie Asiya Imao, National Artist for Visual Arts on 2006. He achieved renown as the foremost designer of the Sarimanok motif. He was born on January 14, 1933, and he was died on December 16, 2014. His major artworks are Industrial Brass Mural, Philippine National Bank, San Fernando, La Union, Mural Relief on Filmmaking, Manila City Hall, Industrial Mural, Central Bank of the Philippines, San Fernando, La Union, and Cholo Warriors. Guillermo Tolentino, National Artist for Sculpture on 1973. Guillermo Estela Tolentino is a product of revival period on Philippines art. He was born on July 24, 1890, and he was died on July 12, 1976. His artwork include Are the Bonifacio Monument, bronze figures of President Quezon at Quezon Memorial, life-size bust of Jose Rizal at UP and UE, marble structure of Ramon Magsaysay in GSIS building, and black and white painting. Laro Larry Alcala, National Artist for Visual Arts on 2018. He was born on August 18, 1926, and he was died on June 24, 2002. He was well-known editorial cartoonist and illustrator in the Philippines. His notable works include Our Slice of Life Weekend on 1980 to 1986, Islaw Palitaw, So-Called Man Daily Express, Lover Boy, Redondo Comics, and Mang Ambo Weekly Graphic.
Literature. Francisco Arcelana, National Artist for Literature 1990, September 6, 1916, August 1, 2002. His contributions are Selected Stories 1962, Poetry and Politics, The State of Original Writing in English in the Philippines Today 1977. Next is Edith Alviampa, National Artist for Literature in 1999, born on April 22, 1919, and died on August 21, 2011. Her works are The Little Marmoset and Bonsai. Bienvenido Lumbera, National Artist for Literature in 2006. His contributions are Likhandila, Likhandiwa, Balaybay, Apat na Dulang May Musika. Virgilio S. Almarillo, National Artist for 2003, born on March 9, 1944. His contributions are Maquinación, Peregrinación. Last is Ramon L. Muzones, National Artist for Literature in 2018, born on March 20, 1913, and died on August 17, 1992. Some of his contributions is Tamblot, 1948, Margo sa Tubig, 1946. Theater Design.
Nearly 50 years after Ramon Villera's death, not many have surpassed his mastery of designs and innovation. He was born on August 31, 1912 to a well-to-do family. His father, Malesio, was a partner of tycoon Vicente Madrigal since his youth. Villera had been a natural in fashion design. His mother, Pilar Oswald, noticed that the doll's display on the piano would suddenly have a new clothes. The contribution of Ramon Villera, whose family hails from Abra, lies in the tradition of excellence of his works and his commitment to his profession. Performing his magical seminal innovation on the Philippine Terno, Villera is said to have given the country its visual icon to the world via the Terno. Villera designs the inaugural gown of all the First Lady from Aurora, Quezon to Imelda Marcos, except for Evangelina Macapagal, although he did make the debutante gowns of her daughter, President Gloria Arroyo. One of his most publicized designs was a gown worn by Imelda Marcos on a state's visits to Iran. Ramon Villera was a designer as he was an artist.
Salvador F. Bernal, national artist for theater design in 2003, born on January 7, 1945 and died on October 26, 2011. He designed more than 300 productions distinguished for their originality. Bernal shared his skills with younger designers through his classes at the University of the Philippines and the Ateneo de Manila University. Historical literature. Carlos Carino, national artist for historical literature in 1997, born on January 14, 1910 and died on May 20, 1999. He is a biographer that has the distinction of having written one of the earliest biographies of Jose Rizal titled The Great Malayan. His book Maps and Views of Old Manila is considered as the best book on the subject. His other books include Quezon, Man of Destiny, Magsaysay of the Philippines, Lives of the Philippines Presidents, Philippine Cartography.
Reyes is a national artist for dance in 1973. She was born on March 9, 1899 and died on 21 of November 1983. She is considered as a mother of Filipino folk dance for her research. His books include the following: Philippine National Dance in 1946, Gymnastic for Girls 1947, Fundamental Dance Step and Music 1948, Foreign Folk Dance 1949, Dance for All Occasion 1950, Playground Demonstration 1951, and Philippine Folk Dance Volume 1-6. Ramona Arevalo Ubusan was also a national artist for dance in 2006. Born on June 16, 1938 and died on December 21, 2006. Was a Filipino dancer, choreographer, stage designer, and artistic director. Ubusan is credited for his work in promoting Philippine and traditional dance and cultural work. He is also an acclaimed archivist, researcher, and documentary filmmaker who focuses on Philippine culture. Alice Reyes was national artist for dance in 2014. As a dancer, choreographer, teacher, and director, she has made a lasting impact on the development and promotion of contemporary dance in the Philippines. Among her well-known dance choreographies, it includes the Tales of the Manubu and Drama Hari, which she worked on with Kayabyam. Leonor Arasaga Kinka was a national artist for dance. Born on July 24, 1917 to July 15, 2005, is also known as the mother of Philippine dance theater and dean of Filipino performing arts critics. She was also known for breaking traditions for dance. Several of her choreographies dance form the Philippine life, legend, lore, and dance productions. Lucrecia Reyes Otula was a national artist for dance in 1988. Born in June 29, 1929 to August 4, 1999. Lucrecia also served as artistic director for dance at the Folk Arts Theater, conceptualized and managed the Philippine Folk Dance Society, among others. She was founding director at the Philippine National Folk Dance Company and was named National Artist of the Philippines for Dance in 1988.
Music is the art of arranging sounds in time through elements of melody, harmony, rhythm, and timbre. It is one of the universal cultural aspects of all human societies. Example of the artist in music is first, Antonio Berabintura. He is highly acclaimed for his brilliance in the field of music. He took over the cudgels of the Philippine army bands and transformed them into one of the finest military bands in the world. He is also a distinguished composer and educator. Some other examples of his works are Echoes of the Past, History Fantasy, and Second Symphony in E-flat. Second, Jose Maceda. He was a composer, pianist, and ethnomusicologist who dedicated his life to the understanding and popularization of music. Some examples of his works are La Loba Negra, Ashen Wings, and Sikhay sa Kabila ng Paalam. Third is Lucrecia Arcasilab. She was a Filipino composer and pianist. She is particularly known for incorporating indigenous Filipino instruments into orchestral productions. Some examples of her works are The Golden Salakot, Love Songs, Legend of the Sarimanok, and The Pamana. Fourth is Hernani J. Cuenco. He is a Filipino composer, film scorer, musical director, music teacher, and Philippine national artist for music. Some examples of his works are Filipino Youth, Symphony Orchestra from 1960 to 1968, and the Manila Chamber Soloist from 1966 to 1970. And the last is Ryan Kayabyam. He is also known as Mr. C. He is a Filipino musician, composer, and conductor. He was the executive and artistic director for several years. For the defunct San Miguel Foundation for the Performing Arts, his famous composition which is the Coconut Nut Song, performed by his Smoky Mountain Band, a group of 7 young adult singers.
Theater. H. Avellana, National Artist for Theater in 1999, born on January 26, 1917, and died on May 12, 2013. Next is Rolando Estelio, National Artist for Theater and Literature in 1997, born on March 5, 1937, and died on July 7, 1997. Alfredo Guerrero, National Artist for Theater in 1997, born on January 22, 1910, and died on April 28, 1995. Honorata Atang Dilarama, National Artist for Theater and Music in 1987, born on January 11, 1902, and died on July 11, 1991. That's it for the lesson 4 and 5 in Contemporary Arts, grade 12 STEM.